If you're someone who's a mouth breather, or you snore, or you have a loved one who snores, there is a contribution to mouth breathing, snoring, and developing a hiatal hernia and developing acid reflux, because those two go hand in hand. And there's a lot of serious repercussions for having acid reflux and having a hiatal hernia. So if this is you or someone you care about, let's dive in. So the normal breathing we want to do is nasal breathing, and what that does is that allows us to belly breathe, and our diaphragm bows down nicely and then pushes back up, and you're getting a very deep breath, you're getting rhythmic breathing, and that is by design. So the body is a beautifully intricate, amazing machine, and so much of it has to do with pressures and motion of whether it's air or food, that when those go awry, issues occur. So with mouth breathing, whether it's due to congestion, inflammation, what's ever preventing the person from breathing easily through their nose, that contributes to a weakened diaphragm. And that alters not only the mechanics of the diaphragm, it causes increased intra-abdominal pressure. It actually can cause poor posture, and all of these things affect nerves. So we're gonna jump into it. So with chronic mouth breathing, you tend to be a shallow breather, and so you're using your chest to breathe, and you can watch people who are shallow breathers, who are mouth breathers, and they can't get that deep belly breath, and so they breathe with what's called not just their upper chest, but their accessory muscles. So you can see their shoulders, I'm exaggerating it, but you can see their shoulders moving up and down. You can see tension in their neck because they're having to strain instead of effortlessly doing the belly breathing, which is what happens when you're a nasal breather. So what happens with this is that this chest breathing leads to underuse and weakening of the diaphragm. Now the diaphragm does a lot for us. It's certainly bringing air in and out, but from a hiatal hernia, acid reflux viewpoint, it has what's called a pinch cock. So that is a mechanism that can kind of, we use it in labs, like when you're going to school, but it's basically a valve that pinches off the flow of liquid. So in your esophagus, which is the tube that connects your mouth to your stomach, the diaphragm acts like this pinch cock around where the esophagus passes through, and once food or liquid passes through, it kind of pinches down on it, and the idea there is it's preventing acid reflux. Now just below the pinch cock of the diaphragm, there's another valve called the lower esophageal sphincter, which is the same thing. It's another valve just a little bit below. So your body inherently has both of these mechanisms to prevent acid reflux, and therefore also to prevent hiatal hernia, which is that movement of the stomach up above the diaphragm. So when you have a weakened diaphragm, that system doesn't work very well because your diaphragm is too weak. Okay, and then mouth breathers tend to have inefficient coordination of their core and their breath just from lack of use, and that can impair what's called abdominal pressure regulation. Again, this has a lot to do with these pressures. So when you have normal pressure in your diaphragm from the belly breathing, and you have a healthy digestive tract, those pressures are nice and balanced, and your diaphragm can really move down and bring all that air in, and it's not encumbered by what's called intra-abdominal pressure, when you have a lot of inflammation in your gut, and that's pushing upwards too much. And so for people who have that, they'll say they can't get a deep breath, and they'll start shallow breathing because of that, because their diaphragm has got too much pressure pushing in the wrong direction instead of allowing it to bow down. So what happens for these people due to the weakened state of their diaphragm is that if they get into a severe coughing fit, or they're lifting, or they're straining maybe at stool because of constipation, they're much more likely to get a hiatal hernia, because that strength, that pressure from above to keep everything down is inefficient. So it's easy for things to come up, in other words. The other thing that happens is that mouth breathing is associated with forward head motion, a posture, I should say. So maybe you've seen people who kind of lead with their chin. Their head is the first thing you see if you're looking at them from the side, and they're walking, they're leading with their chin, leading with their neck. And that's a poor posture that it's not just poor posture, but it's affecting the nerves, because just like your low back has a curvature, a C curve, if I was facing this way, the curve should be here. So if you can feel the curve in your low back much more easily, but that same curve should be occurring in your neck, such that your head is above, it's over your spine, it's directly over it. You're not leading forward with your head. So that leading forward puts stress on the vagus nerve, which comes out of your brain and goes right down the front of your neck. And the vagus nerve affects these, remember I talked about this pinch cock, it's a sphincter or a valve, and also the esophagus having a valve. Well, the stomach has a valve, and the gallbladder has a valve, and the pancreas, there's a lot of valves involved in your digestive tract. And when your vagus nerve is irritated, it irritates a whole slew of issues. All of these valves are not working as well as they should to control the flow of food and drink. Also, it can aggravate your heart, it can aggravate your esophagus, it can aggravate your stomach and your entire digestive tract. So when your vagus nerve is aggravated, we have a lot of trouble brewing. Also, your phrenic nerve, that's PH, the sound is F, but it's spelled PH, also comes from the base of your neck. So again, if you've lost that curvature, you're putting stress on the phrenic nerve, and that's the nerve that goes to the diaphragm, which we've been talking a lot about. So we're going to talk at the end of this video about all the things we can do about this, but I just wanted to go down the list of all the problems associated with mouth breathing and how it can really affect your gut health and hiatal hernia. So let me make sure I'm going over everything. The last point is during sleep. So if you're a mouth breather, you're much more likely to have sleep apnea, you're much more likely to snore, and those gasps for air that people engage in, or forceful breathing, that can really create what's called pressure surges into the chest and abdomen, and that can aggravate a hiatal hernia. So it's kind of the same reason why if that area is weak, which we're talking about mouth breathing creating a weakness, and then you lift something very, very heavy, your diaphragm, your core isn't strong enough to sustain it, and up your stomach can come. Same thing with being a mouth breather and snoring, gasping for air. There are surges, quick surges of pressure that can cause an aggravation of a hiatal hernia or acid reflux, because they both do tend to occur together. Okay, so it was a lot of different points associated with this. So what do we do? Here at Root Cause, our focus is a natural solution to why symptoms occur. So if somebody's a mouth breather, and I'm not talking about structural issues that somebody's born with and they can't breathe through their nose, etc. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about somebody who was able to breathe through their nose, now they don't, and why. So we figure out what the source of inflammation is such that they can't breathe through their nose. So are they chronically congested? Is it not congestion like mucus you can blow out, or you don't have a postnasal drip, but rather, there's nothing you can blow out. It's just you're inflamed, and air, not enough air is coming through, so you have to breathe through your mouth. So there's a number of different things that can cause that, inflammatory factors, food related, toxin related. The whole goal is just to figure out what that root cause is. And inevitably, what's causing the lack of ability to breathe through the nose is causing other issues as well, which is what I love about what we do and the comprehensive nature of our program, because we're working on, let's say, gut health with somebody and inflammation causing that, and then they mention something like, wow, I was never really able to breathe through my nose, but now I am suddenly, and they're surprised by that. We're not, because we know that we're overall taking down inflammation. But what it is unique to the individual, and we do testing to figure it out. But it is natural, it is drug-free, and normalizing that is really an integral part to ensuring you have good diaphragm function, you're preventing acid reflux, you're preventing hiatal hernia, or if you already have one, this is part of the problem of why it's not remedying, you see, because you do have these pressure issues because you're not using your diaphragm the way that you should. So normalizing that will go a long way to normalizing your overall body function, getting you feeling great, allowing you to sleep better, get better oxygen. So there's a lot of plus points to that, and it's not difficult to fix. So I hope you got something out of this, you learned something. If you do like the content of this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're trying to increase our subscribers so that more people can hear about this channel, get exposed to it, and really be able to improve their health naturally. Also, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Send it to someone who you know might be suffering with this. And I do appreciate you. I answer pretty much every comment I get on my channel. And thanks for listening. We'll talk soon.